Another full review. Good morning, YouTube. What's up, everybody? I hope you're safe and healthy and happy and doing okay. All right, everybody. So today I have another full review for the channel. Oh. Now you wanna say hi. Okay. Anyways, yes, so today I have another full review, and it's of a shoe that I've put a lot of miles on, well over 50, and that is the Saucony Endorphin Speed 2. If you've been following my channel for a long time, then you know that I loved the first version of the Saucony Endorphin Speed. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars for the full review, and it was my #1 shoe of 2020. So the main question is, does the Endorphin Speed 2 live up to that same pedestal, or I don't know if that really makes sense. Does it live up to the same expectations that I now have of the Endorphin Speed? Does it have that same awesome feeling underfoot? Is it just as versatile? We're gonna talk about all that today, but first let's get to the run footage, and then we'll be on to my full review of the Speed 2.
I know it's closing if I just stand still, 'cause you won't wait forever, so just hear me out. It is not like I don't want you, just scared to try. Even if the odds are in my favor, I just need more time. So if you wait just a little bit longer, I will treat you right, yeah. Soon as I saw you, I knew it's never right now, 'cause someone like you wouldn't take that. I don't even try. Soon as I saw you, I knew it's never right now. Someone like you wouldn't take that. I don't even try.
If you're unfamiliar with how I structure my full reviews, let me give you a rundown. First, I'm going to start with the specs, then we're going to talk about the upper, the midsole, the outsole, the price, and then my conclusion on the shoe. And that's where I rate it out of 5 stars. So if it's the best shoe I've ever worn and I never want to take it off my foot, it's going to be 5 stars. And if it's the worst shoe I've ever worn and I never want to wear it again, it's going to be 1 star. Haven't had a 1-star shoe yet. Then at the end, I'll throw up a scream at the pros and the cons so you can get a visual idea of what I liked and what I disliked. And one more thing before we get started, I do want to let you know that this shoe was sent to me by Running Warehouse and Saucony. However, neither company is telling me what to say. They're not going to see this video before you, and all of my opinions on all of my videos all of the time are my very own. The Saucony Endorphin Speed 2 is 7.1 ounces for a women's size 8, but for my size 10.5 women's, this shoe came in at 8.1 ounces. We have an 8mm drop here with 35.5 millimeters of stack in the heel and 27.5 in the forefoot. And for me, the good old Speed 2 is true to size. The Speed 2 is utilizing an engineered mesh that Saucony calls Form Fit, which is basically just mimicking what their track spikes are like, and this material is updated from the first version of the Speed. In that midfoot, we do have the Saucony logo perhaps acting as an overlay, but if you look closely, it might be hard for the camera to pick up, but there are some printed on overlays that help to provide structure in that midfoot and keep you on the platform. Going to the back of the shoe, the heel counter is pretty sturdy. Saucony calls this their heel support frame that just helps to keep your foot locked in through that gait cycle. So yes, as I already said, this is a departure from the one. Not a crazy difference, but it is a little bit different. Certainly a more structured upper here. And I would say it's fairly breathable and probably more breathable than the first version. I definitely am feeling some air passing through. Today was a little bit of a cooler day here in New York, thank God. And I did feel some of that nice breeze passing through that forefoot. It's hard for me to really pick something I don't like about the upper of this shoe other than kind of the color. Although I will say the color has kind of grown on me slightly. But yeah, I mean, I am really locked in here. I feel like I have a good amount of room in that forefoot and the midfoot. Not too restricted, but also I have some room for my toes to breathe up here, which is great. I haven't felt any hot spots in the shoe while I've been running over the course of probably like 60 plus miles at this point. The laces are longer here than in the first version, which I talked about in my first run impressions. This is a good thing because the laces on the first version were a little bit short for my liking and for a lot of other people's liking. So thumbs up there, Saucony, for listening to your runners. And we have a gusseted tongue, great fit. And in terms of durability, this shoe's upper has held up fine. I mean, it's slightly discolored from the action that it's gotten, but other than that, I mean, I've seen no fraying, no signs of real wear and tear here, which is a fantastic sign. And I've also had no heel slipping, no blisters or irritation. I already said I've had no hot spots. I probably liked the design aesthetic better in the first version, just the pattern of the upper. Obviously, the color of the shoe I liked more. But overall, I think in terms of function, this is going to be better for people. We got 3 things to talk about here. The first one is Saucony's Power Run PB midsole that lots of runners have grown to be completely obsessed with. It is a PBA-based foam, so that means soft, bouncy, responsive, highly energetic. And sandwiched in between the layers of midsole material, we have a nylon plate here, not carbon, it is nylon. And just when you thought the shoe couldn't get any more fun, Saucony also added the speed roll technology, which basically just is the geometry of the shoe. It curves upward a bit to give you a better roll through your stride. If you remember back to my first run impressions of this shoe, I said that in a couple of my runs in the beginning, it didn't feel quite the same under the forefoot that the shoe did in the first version. It still felt bouncy and energetic and somewhat soft, but it just wasn't the same feeling. And then I had described that over time, that sensation got a little bit better, and it did start to feel like the one a little bit more. I'm here to report after 50, 60 miles in this shoe, I think it's kind of went the other way. I'm starting to notice that this shoe does not feel the same under that forefoot that the first speed did. It still feels really good, really fun, a lot better than a lot of shoes in its class, but it doesn't have that same magical feeling that the first version did, in my personal opinion. Now, does that mean the shoe is a total dud and you should just not even think about buying it? No, absolutely not. If you want a little bit of a firmer vibe in that forefoot, then you might much prefer this over the one. And another thing that I think this shoe has over the first version is that it feels more stable. So here you're kind of doing a trade-off of having maybe a slightly less soft, bouncy forefoot for a little bit more of a stable ride. So you kind of have to weigh what matters most to you. I still really enjoy the shoe. I have been wearing it more than the one just because my one is so beat up. And I've taken it on, my gosh, tempo days, easy days, long days. I ran a 15 miler in the shoe, and while I kind of felt like crap that day, the shoe performed just fine, no problems. I am a little skeptical about bringing this to marathon distance because I'm not sure if that firmer forefoot is going to bother me in those longer miles, but I am trying it on another 15 miler this week, probably when you're watching this video. So I'll let you know how it does. I'll pin a comment down below like I've been doing. I'm certainly a person who needs a little bit more stability in their run. So for me, the sacrifice of that crazy bouncy feeling in the one for the little extra stability is kind of important. But still, I think this is a really versatile shoe. I think you can take this on tempo days, you can race in this shoe, you can do long runs, and I'm sure that many of you will do a marathon in this shoe, and I think it can honestly handle it all. In terms of durability, I'm not seeing any degradation here of the midsole. Yes, perhaps that forefoot is kind of flattening out a tiny bit, but overall, nothing too crazy. And I do still really enjoy this shoe. I mean, there's not really anything quite like it. I think that nylon plate just opens the floodgates for this shoe to just do so much more than a carbon plated shoe can for so many more people. And I think Saucony really just broke through a wall there when they created this shoe. And I truly do feel like the Speed 2 is no different. You're still gonna get that versatility and that fun, peppy ride. I just might like the one's midsole feel a little bit better. Turning the shoe over, Saucony is using carbon rubber throughout the outsole of this shoe. You have some in the forefoot with some flex grooves, an exposed midfoot area, and then a little bit of carbon rubber on the heel, as well as around the entire perimeter of the shoe. I know this carbon rubber has gotten mixed reviews from people in the past, but today was wet conditions. I was in wet conditions in the Speed 1, and I really have not had any problems. The only time I've had issues with the traction on this shoe is when I'm going on like wet grass. But yeah, I would try to avoid that. Otherwise, I really feel like streets, concrete, pavement, that sort of thing are like fine. I haven't had any problems. And in fact, the traction pattern on the shoe hasn't worn down too much. Just a little bit in the very top of the forefoot and in the middle of that forefoot area, just ever so slightly, but honestly, not too bad at all. And even the exposed Power Run PB is holding up just fine. The Saucony Endorphin Speed 2 is $159.95 on runningwarehouse.com, which is the same price the one was when it came out. Truly, I do think it is worth the price because the shoe really can do so much. So you'll get a lot of use out of it and bang for your buck. Now, if you really enjoyed the Speed 1 and you're a little bit hesitant about getting the 2 because of maybe the fear that it won't be as fun in the midsole area or not what you're expecting, then I would say get a discounted Speed 1. I mean, fantastic shoe, one of the best shoes I've ever tried, so you're really not gonna go wrong there either. If you're interested in picking up a pair of the Speed 2 or the Speed 1, I'll put links in the description of this video so you can click those links and pick up your own pair of either shoe. Keep in mind, this is an affiliate link with Running Warehouse. However, that doesn't mean much for you. It just helps out my channel so I can put you onto these shoes and hopefully you enjoy them as much as I have. So in conclusion, I think that this shoe is still fantastic. I love it. I don't know, Saucony just has gold here with the Speed line. And I hope that the Speed 3 doesn't totally ruin it. I don't know that the Speed 3 is even coming out anytime soon or like ever. But when it does, I hope that it's not ruined. And for that reason, I'm giving the Speed 2 a 4 out of 5 stars. Which, if you remember, is a half a star less than the Speed 1. And that is only because I just love the Speed 1's midsole feel so much. Yes, it was more unstable, but it just felt a little bit better under the forefoot for me. So I knocked this shoe down a little bit, but that's okay. If you have not tried a Speed shoe, whether it's the Speed 1 or the Speed 2, please do so because you will not regret it. Somebody in the comments will now say that they regretted it, but I don't think you'll regret it. All right, so now let's throw up a scream at the pros and the cons. For pros, I have the improved upper, that this is a super versatile shoe, the midsole feel, and kind of bouncing off that midsole feel is just, I think the nylon plate here is the way to go. It just is so much better at doing a variety of things than just one thing. And for cons, I don't have too many. I mean, I have the midsole feel is good, but I don't think it's quite as good as the one. Another con I have is value. And what I mean by that is if you love the Speed 1, I can't really see why you wouldn't just get a discounted Speed 1 instead of paying full price for the 2. And the aesthetic, I mean, I don't like the color of this shoe and I really don't like the other colorways of the Speed 2, to be honest. I think the Speed 1 just had way more variety, way cooler colors, but I mean, that's kind of a silly thing. And that's it. Speed 2's got the juice. The 1 had the juice, perhaps more juice. But you still get plenty of juice here. It is certainly a possibility that I will wear this in Chicago. Again, I have it narrowed down to this shoe and perhaps the Bondi X. I don't know, guys, but I really got to decide soon. So I'm going to run 15 miles in it on Sunday, which is today. If you're watching this, the day that this video drops. And I'll leave a comment down below and let you know how we do. Well, that concludes my full review of the Saucony Endorphin Speed 2. If you enjoyed this video, please like it down below and subscribe. And when you're done with all that, hit that notifications bell so you can find out every time I upload a new video. Give me this shoe with the original colorway of the Speed. Please, please. We have some more videos for you next week, but in the meantime, get out there, get on the grind, and don't forget to run like Heller. And like Ruby, right? See you next time. Over here. Come. Ready? Come. Ruby. Come here. Thank you. No. Sit.